Hi, Kenda Ruth here from The Hero Spouse, and I'm going to answer one of your questions that I was not able to get to on Facebook Live last week. So we have a female left behind spouse. Her bomb drop was September of 2019, and right now she says he's an off and on. She wasn't sure in the past. She's thought maybe a vanisher, maybe an off and on. I definitely think not a vanisher because there is regular weekly texting. That actually puts him in boomerang territory, even though it's texting, and it's very angry texting. And that might be where she's thinking, not a vanisher, definitely. But there's communication. There's also an alienator who is hyper involved, very narcissistic, trying to bait her and be in her life and get her all riled up. The alienator doing that to the left behind spouse. So let's read what she says. She also says he's a high energy replayer. She says, I'm really backing off a little. I haven't engaged in my husband's lashing out or in his lunatic alienator's demands. And they are insane, those demands from the alienator. I've stayed calm. But with recent pushing, I've also stopped watching. I'm not looking at couples pictures. I'm not reading the crazy text. I'm in smart contact. I'm taking care of my life and our children. He actually missed picking them up last weekend. That hasn't happened for a long time. But I'm doing us, and I assume that means you and the kids. I'm doing us and perfectly well. I'm not going no contact. He can call or text. I'm just staying out of the control and the drama. And as a side note, I'm going to say I really like that because you don't need the no contact right now. He can call or text. You just don't need to initiate it. That's fine. Like probably everyone, I struggle with how that might just give him relief. Sending the message that I've given up. That I don't need him. What does that backing off do with an MLCer? Well, you are expressing one of the main fears. One of the fears that comes with detachment is they'll think I don't care. One of the things that comes with detachment is I think I will stop caring as well. What are the alternatives? Think about what's going to happen or what is already happening when you don't back off. And then compare what might happen with backing off. First thing that might happen with backing off, and this isn't always, is you may experience an increase in the monstering, in those angry texts. And you're getting more than the average. It's very common, but you're on the high side. You might experience an increase because he's going to try to bring you back into that zone where you were before, where he felt more in control. And she's doing it. She is probably antagonizing it. Because remember, we have a very active alienator in this situation. The alienator in this situation is in her 20s, so she's very young. Do you need him? Do you want to give the message of dependence? You're saying, is he going to think that I don't need him? I want that message out there that you don't need him. The messages I want, and this is for everybody in healthy relationships, everybody across the board, we don't need our partner. We want him. We want her. We want our partner. We want a relationship. There's a level of need in the sense of one of us works and one of us may stay home with the children. And so this single income, but we don't want that to create an emotional dependence on each other where I can't survive without you. In the sense that I'll suffer, I'll just fall apart. I've been told, and I'm sure all of you have heard these things because it's in songs, I can't breathe without him. He makes me breathe. They're my soul. That's a metaphor. It's not reality. What you're doing is the right thing. I am so proud of you for staying calm because it's very hard to do when you also have the alienator trying to involve and insert herself in things that aren't her business. Backing off very well could cause him to think the things that you're fearing, that you've given up. Now, that's when you get to say, you know what? No, I do care. They probably won't say, I think you've given up on standing for our marriage because he's a more distant boomerang or distant contact, or not a clinging boomerang who is seeking reassurance from you. A boomerang seeking or a clinging boomerang seeking reassurance may need you to say that you are standing. They might want a more overt message about it, that you don't want a divorce. For yours, the comments that might be like, it just feels like you don't care anymore. And maybe it's like you don't care about the children. Maybe you don't care about getting through the divorce. You might not express what. And that's where you get to say, I do care. I'm doing this because I care. I am not trying to engage with you because we have children together and we need to co-parent in a healthy way that our children can see and learn from. So my not engaging with you in an argument and not allowing you to control me benefits our relationship as co-parents, and it benefits our children. And you know what? When it comes to our kids, I'm going to be a mama bear. I want what's best for them. And you know what's best? You. You having a relationship with them, having a healthy relationship with them is best for them. And so I'm going to do what I feel is best for the relationship between the two of us. Now, that doesn't mean we're together anymore. You know that, and I know that. But it does mean we need to do as best as we can to get along in a civil manner. And that means that I'm not going to engage with you when you're refusing to be civil. So, yeah, he might think that you've given up. If he asks you, hey, I thought you wanted to stay married to me. You know, sometimes from someone like a high energy with a narcissistic alienator who's probably also going through a narcissism himself, since he's in a midlife crisis, he might be doing that as a poke. Thought you wanted me back. Say, you know what? You're a real jerk and a monster. I don't want that person back. But the person I do want, I would love to have someday forward, is the person I know you were, and I know you can be even better. Now, I don't know that you're going to be that. You're a real jackass, and I don't want you. But if you're going to be a better person someday, yeah, I would love to have the door open for the real you. And I know that person is in there. I believe in you. And that doesn't mean it's going to feel like it works. Remember, MLC is a marathon. We're going to say these things, and they're going to sneer at us and do these things. It doesn't mean it didn't work or that it did. Because with a marathon, you don't see a turnaround. You don't see success immediately. You don't see success in a week. MLC is like an orchid. It takes 7 years to grow. And before that, it's underneath the surface, underneath the dirt. And we can't tell that our constant watering, or not constant, but the amount of watering we're supposed to be giving is doing any good. And then suddenly, 7 years later, that little shoot comes up. And it's a tiny, beautiful thing. But we don't know anything before that sometimes. I hope this was helpful for you. I will see everybody on Thursday at 3 o'clock Pacific for Full Face